welcome back to Rating the List, where we review, discuss, and reimagine popular movie lists objectively. We're your hosts. I'm Jerry.
And I'm Brad. And on this episode, we'll be exploring number 17 from Sports Illustrated's The Top 50 Sports Movies of All Time.
All right, number 17 is Brian's Song, directed by Buzz Kulik, released in 1971, starring James Caan and Billy Dee Williams.
Chicago Bears teammates Brian Piccolo and Gale Sayers become best friends in the midst of competing for the starting running back job. They bring out the best in each other and provide support to each other through Sayers' career-threatening knee injury and Piccolo's terminal illness.
Probably one of the best TV movies ever made.
Yeah, so, when we discussed The Deadliest Season, we mentioned that there was another TV movie on this list, and it's Brian's Song. And this is like this Citizen Kane of TV movies.
Yeah, it's so good and so well acted. It's based on a true story. The humor in the movie still holds up. Like, I still laughed at the jokes that they made. They gave each other like bad time,
There's a few things that are
a little
tiny bit dated, and some language used that not necessarily appropriate anymore.
No.
But within the context of what's happening, it's acceptable. It's not gonna there's use of the N-word, for instance, but the way that it's used and in the context that it's used, it's, you wouldn't do it today.
No. But
the manner with which it's used and how, the character that's using it is completely out of character for that character to do it, which the other character fully recognizes, and it's what, and takes it in the spirit that it's meant to be taken, which is to kind of crack them a little bit.
Yeah.
And make
they both give each other a bad time.
Yeah.
About,
This movie is like really interesting because, you've got James Caan and Billy Dee Williams, who become two of the biggest stars of the 70s. And this is right on the cusp of both of their stardom. Like, this is right before The Godfather comes out. Mm-hmm. And this is right before Billy Dee Williams really starts to be a, very charismatic screen presence. This is a really interesting part for him. Because, when you think of, cool and charisma on screen, you think of Billy Dee Williams.
Yes, for sure.
I mean,
it's Lando.
It's freaking Lando Calrissian. It's the Colt 45 guy. But in this one, he's playing a very introverted, reserved character.
Yeah, Piccolo is the one that's really outgoing and talkative, and in fact, I think his mouth gets him a lot of places, Piccolo, It's, there's some aspects that feel dated, like some of the language, some of the jokes. Yeah. But other than that, the movie feels like it could be pretty current.
Yeah, and they did actually remake this in the early 2000s. It's not very good. But,
why do you take something that's almost... already really good and admired by many, and then try to remake it? I don't understand
It's the whole miss on remakes. The kind of movie that you should remake is a really great idea that wasn't executed properly.
Yes.
That's what you should remake. You shouldn't try to reinvent something that's already really, really good.
Yeah, it doesn't make sense to me.
It makes no sense to me at all.
Case in point, Footloose.
Yeah. Well, especially since, if you're remaking this movie, you're still always going to set it in the 1960s. Mm-hmm. It's always going to be set in the 1960s because that's when this took place. So it doesn't matter if it was made in 1971 or 2003 or whenever that remake was made. You're still setting it in the same time period. So there's nothing to update per se. You're not going to take a story that was set here and tell the exact same story, but in a modern setting.
Yeah.
You're not even doing that. Mm-mm. So it made no sense to me why they remade it, especially since this is so good.
Yeah. I know, from talking to many men that I know that have watched this movie, they said this is one of the only movies that have made them cry.
This is the quintessential male weepy.
Yeah.
Really
it's like a serious bromance going on.
Yeah.
you have a death and injury and all of that.
Yeah, and then it's like within the it's all wrapped up in a
In
football ball package. I mean, man, it's got like everything for you, right?
Yeah, it does. And it's really great. They're going out for the same position, so they're super competitive with each other, but they really become good friends.
Well, and it's not just that. The competition brings out the best in both of them.
Mm-hmm.
So, they are both competing for it, but they're doing two things. One, they're going about it the right way.
Mm-hmm.
And, they're both, they're not like doing anything untoward towards each other in order to win this.
Right.
They're just trying to be their best.
Yes.
And, Brian Piccolo ultimately loses out because Gale Sayers is, like a Hall of Fame running back.
Well, yeah, and then he gets sick too, so.
But, he ends up, moving to a different position slightly because of it. But he accepts the fact that, he is second best here. And he knows he gave everything he had, but he also recognizes that I was up against the best.
Yeah.
And I accept that he's the best.
Mm-hmm.
And I respect the way that he went about it. And now that he's won it, I'm going to ensure that he's the best. Like that's like his thing. He's just like, you won this out and you better keep winning it because I am going to be right on your heels all the time trying to take this job from you.
Well, and that's the whole thing about him when he hurts his leg, right? When Sayers hurts his leg and Piccolo is there and is like, look, you're not going to sit here and sulk and feel bad for yourself. We're going to get you into shape and you're going to get back on the field.
So, you're going to get to a point where you get to compete with me.
Yeah. So it's this whole thing and it's pretty, he really, really helps him because he was in a really crappy place. And
knee injuries back then were not the same as knee injuries now. Like, arthroscopic surgery didn't exist back then. So this knee injury is the kind of knee injury that players a lot of times didn't come back from.
There's also a lot of racial undertones in this movie. It's interesting because I was thinking about this. This storyline is a lot like Remember the Titans.
A little bit.
With the head football guy, how he gets sick.
Pretty similar time frame too.
Yeah, so it's kind of interesting. But so basically the coach picks Piccolo to room with Sayers.
Basically, they made roommate assignments by position.
Mm-hmm.
So because they were both running backs, they were put together, and this was kind of a new thing where you hadn't had a black and white teammate roommate together before, and they make the most out of it. They're kind of an odd couple, nothing to do with the racial dimension of it. It's just like Piccolo is super outgoing and Gale Sayers is super introverted, so they're kind of an odd couple in that way, and it leads to a lot of humor.
Mm-hmm.
But it's also Brian Piccolo really makes Gale Sayers come out of his shell and kind of feel at home and feel a brotherhood. Like, these guys love each other. Yes. Like, these are like brothers.
Yeah.
So, I'm sure like Gale Sayers till, for the rest of his life, was, always thinking of moments with Brian Piccolo, and like probably always played his career that way where, I've got to live up to Brian's ideal here.
Yeah.
Really, really excellent film. The only thing that I don't particularly care for it is the voiceover.
The voiceover?
There's a voiceover.
Oh, yeah. That's right. That's how, rememberable it is.
Yeah, that's the only thing I would take out of it is the weird... I think it's the coach, right? I think the voiceover is the coach.
I think it is, yeah.
It just doesn't fit.
I thought it would be interesting to have this on the 100 Greatest Love Stories of All Time.
It is a love story.
It's not a romantic.
It's not a romantic.
True.
It's not a romantic love story, but it is a love story. It is a love story.
Yeah. I like that they added real football footage.
Yeah, and did it pretty seamlessly.
Yeah, it was good. It's a really good movie all the way around.
Yeah, I've seen it probably about a half dozen times.
This is one of those TV movies that you could find somewhere. So
yeah, well,
if
this
you haven't
one,
seen it, you should watch it.
I believe this movie ended up having a release in Europe in theaters. Plus, this one was released on home video, which is why you're able to find it. Like, the reason you can't find The Deadliest Season is because it's not released on home video. This one was released on home video. When I worked at the video store, this was there, and
okay,
you could rent sense.
It. Okay.
I gave this one a 74. Jerry gave it an 83, so the list score is 78.5.
All right. If you've seen Brian's song and you'd like to comment, please do so. Please like and subscribe to our channel. We'd appreciate it. If you'd like to contact us directly, please do so at ratingthelist@gmail.com. But for now, I'm Jerry.
I'm Brad.
And we're Rating the List. We'll see you next time. Bye.
Bye.